Xunzi. Translation by Burton Watson. Section 2. Improving yourself. When you see good, then diligently examine your own behavior. When you see evil, then with sorrow look into yourself. When you find good in yourself, steadfastly improve it. When you find evil in yourself, hate it as something loathsome. He who comes to you with censure is your teacher. He who comes with approbation is your friend. But he who flatters you is your enemy. Therefore, the gentleman honors his teacher, draws close to his friends, but heartily hates his enemies. He loves good untiringly, and can accept reprimand and take warning from it. Therefore, though he may have no particular wish to advance, how can he help but do so? The petty man is just the opposite. He behaves in an unruly way, and yet hates to have others censure him. He does unworthy deeds, and yet wants others to regard him as worthy. He has the heart of a tiger or a wolf, the actions of a beast, and yet resents it when others look upon him as an enemy. He draws close to those who flatter him, and is distant with those who reprimand him. He laughs at upright men, and treats as enemies those who are loyal. Therefore, though he certainly has no desire for ruin, how can he escape it? This is what is meant by the lines in the odes. They league together, they slander, it fills me with sorrow. When advice is good, they all oppose it. When advice is bad, they follow all together. This is the way with impartial goodness. Use it to control your temperament and nourish your life. You will live longer than the Panzu. Use it to improve and strengthen yourself, and you may become equal to the sages Yao and Yu. It is appropriate when you are in a time of success. It is profitable when you are living in hardship. It is in fact what is meant by ritual. If all matters pertaining to temperament, will, and understanding proceed accordingly to ritual, they will be ordered and successful. If not, they will be perverse and violent, or slovenly and rude. If matters pertaining to food and drink, dress, domicile, and living habits proceed according to ritual, they will be harmonious and well regulated. If not, they will end in missteps, excesses, and sickness. If matters pertaining to deportment and attitude, manner of movement and walk, proceed according to ritual, they will be refined. If not, they will be arrogant and uncouth, common and countrified. Therefore, a man without ritual cannot live. An undertaking without ritual cannot come to completion. A state without ritual cannot attain peace. This is what is meant by the lines in the odes. Their rites and ceremonies are entirely according to rule. Their laughter and talk are entirely appropriate. To make use of good to lead others is called education. To make use of good to achieve harmony with others is called amenity. To use what is not good to lead others is called betrayal. To use what is not good to achieve harmony with others is called sycophancy. To treat right as wrong and wrong as right, and wrong as wrong is called wisdom. To treat right as wrong and wrong as right is called stupidity. To speak ill of good men is called slander. To do harm to good men is called brigandage. To call right, right, and wrong, wrong is called honesty. To steal goods is called robbery. To act on the sly is called deceit. To go back on your word is called perfidy. To be without a fixed standard for your actions is called inconsistency. To cling to profit and cast aside righteousness is called the height of depravity. He who has heard much is called broad. He who has heard little is called shallow. He who has seen much is called practiced. He who has seen little is called uncouth. He who has difficulty advancing is called a laggard. He who forgets easily is called a leaky brain. He whose actions are few and well principled is called orderly. He whose actions are many and disorderly is called chaotic. This is the proper way to order the temperament and train your mind. If your temperament is too strong and stubborn, soften it with harmony. If your intellect is too deep and withdrawn, unify it with mild sincerity. If you are too courageous and fierce, correct the fault with orderly compliance. If you are too hasty and flippant, regulate the fault with restraint. If you are too constrained and petty, broaden yourself with liberality. If you are low-minded, lethargic, and greedy, lift yourself up with high ambitions. If you are mediocre, dull, and diffuse, strip away your failings by means of teachers and friends. If you are indolent and heedless, awaken yourself with the thought of immediate disaster. If you are stupidly sincere and ploddingly honest, temper your character with rites and music. Of all the ways to order the temperament and train the mind, None is more direct than to follow ritual, none more vital than to find a teacher, none more godlike than to learn to love one thing alone. This is called the proper way to order the temperament and train the mind. If your will is well disciplined, you may hold up your head before wealth and eminence. If you are rich in righteous ways, you may stand unmoved before kings and dukes. Look well inside yourself, and you may look lightly upon outside things. This is what the old text means when it says, "The gentleman uses things, the petty man is used by things." Though it may mean labour for the body, if the mind find peace in it, do it. Though there may be little profit in it, if there is much righteousness, do it. Rather than achieve success in the service of an unprincipled ruler, it is better to follow what is right in the service of an impoverished one. A good farmer does not give up ploughing just because of flood or drought. Good merchant does not stop doing business just because of occasional losses. A gentleman does not neglect the way just because of poverty and hardship. If you are respectful in bearing and sincere in heart, if you abide by ritual principles and are kindly to others, then you may travel all over the world, and though you may choose to live among the barbarian tribes, everyone will honour you. If you are the first to undertake hard work, and can leave ease and enjoyment to others, if you are honest and trustworthy, persevering and meticulous in your job, then you can travel all over the world. And though you choose to live among barbarians, everyone will want to employ you. But if your bearing is arrogant and your heart deceitful, if you follow dark and injurious ways, and are inconsistent and vile in feeling, then you may travel all over the world, and though you penetrate to every corner of it, there will be no one who does not despise you. If you are shiftless and evasive when it comes to hard work, but keen and unrestrained in the pursuit of pleasure, if you are dishonest and insincere, concerned only with your own desires, and unattentive to your work, then you may travel all over the world, and though you penetrate to every corner of it, there will be no one who does not reject you. One does not walk with his arms held out like wings, because he is afraid of soiling his sleeves in the mud. One does not walk with his head bent down, because he is afraid of bumping into something. One does not lower his eyes when meeting others, because he is overcome with fright. It is simply that a man of breeding desires to improve his conduct by himself, and to cause no offence to his neighbours. A thoroughbred can travel 1,000 li in one day, yet even a tired old nag can give 10 days to do it in, can cover the same distance. But will you try to exhaust the inexhaustible, to pursue to the end that which has no end. If you do, then you may wear out your bones and flesh, but you will never reach your goal. If, however, you set a limit to your journey, then you may arrive there sooner or later, before others or after them. But how can you fail to arrive at your goal sometime? Will you be an unwitting plodder who tries to exhaust the inexhaustible, to pursue the end that which has no end? Or will you choose to set a limit to your journey? It is not that the propositions concerning black and white, sameness and difference, thickness and non-thickness are not penetrating, but the gentleman does not discuss them because he has put limits to his goal. Therefore, in learning, there is what is called waiting. If those who have gone before stop and wait, those who are behind keep going, then whether sooner or later, whether first or last, how can they fail all in time to reach the goal? If he keeps putting one foot in front of the other without stopping, even a lame turtle can go 1,000 li. If you pile up one handful of earth on top of another without ceasing, you will end up with a high mountain. But if you block the source of a river and break down its banks, even the Yangtze, the Changjiang, and the Yellow River can be made to run dry. If they take one step forward and one step back, pull now to the left and now to the right, even a team of 6 thoroughbreds will never reach their destination. Men are certainly not as widely separated in their capacities as lame turtle and a team of 6 thoroughbreds. Yet the lame turtle reaches the goal where the team of thoroughbreds fails. There is only one reason. One keeps going and the other does not. Though the road is short, if you do not step along, you will never get to the end. Though the task is small, if you do not work at it, you will never get it finished. He who takes many holidays will never excel others by very much. He who loves law and puts it into effect is a man of breeding. He who has a firm will and embodies it in his conduct is a gentleman. He who has keen insight which never fails is a sage. A man who has no laws at all is lost and guideless. A man who has laws but does not understand their meaning is timid and inconsistent. Only if a man abides by laws and at the same time comprehends their wider significance and applicability can he become truly liberal and compassionate. Ritual is the means by which to rectify yourself. The teacher is the means by which ritual is rectified. If you are without ritual, how can you rectify yourself? If you have no teacher, how can you understand the fitness of ritual? If you unerringly do as ritual prescribes, it means that your emotions have found rest in ritual. If you speak as your teacher speak, it means that your understanding has become like that of your teacher. If your emotions find rest in ritual, and your understanding is like that of your teacher, then you have become a sage. Hence, to reject ritual is to be without law. and to reject your teacher is to be without a guide. To deny guide and law, and attempt to do everything your own way, is to be like a blind man trying to distinguish colours or a deaf man tones. Nothing will come of it but confusion and outrage. Therefore, learning means learning to regard ritual as your law. The teacher makes himself the standard of proper conduct and values that in himself which finds rest in ritual. This is what is meant by the lines, without considering, without thinking, he obeys the law of God. If a man is sincere, obedient, and brotherly, he may be said to have found a certain amount of good in him. But if he adds to this a love of learning, modesty, and alertness, then he may be considered a gentleman. If a man is mean and lazy, lacking in modesty, and a glutton over food and drink, he may be said to have a certain amount of bad in him. But if in addition he is wanton, reckless and disobedient, vicious and evil, and lacking in brotherly feeling, then he can be called ill-omened. And no one can protest if he falls into the hands of the law and is executed. If you treat old people as they ought to be treated, then young people too will come to your side. If you do not press those who are already hard pressed, then the successful too will gather around you. If you do good in secret and seek no reward for your kindness, then sages and unworthy men alike will be with you. If a man does these three things, though he should commit a grave error, will heaven leave him to perish? The gentleman is careless in the pursuit of profit, but swift in avoiding harm. Timidly he shuns disgrace, but he practices the principles of the way with courage. Though poor and hard-pressed, a gentleman will be broad of will. Though rich and eminent, he will be respectful in his manner. Though at ease, he will not allow his spirit to grow indolent. Though weary, he will not neglect his appearance. He will not take away more than is right because of anger, nor give more than is right because of joy. Though poor and hard-pressed, he is broad of will because he honours benevolence. Though rich and eminent, he is respectful in manner because he does not presume upon his station. Though at ease, he is not indolent because he chooses to follow what is right. Though weary, he does not neglect his appearance because he values good form. He does not take away too much in anger, nor give too much in joy, because he allows law to prevail over personal feeling. The Book of Documents says, "Do not go by what you like, but follow the way of the king. Do not go by what you hate, but follow the king's road." This means that a gentleman must be able to suppress personal desire in favour of public right. Section 2 of the Xunzi Translation by Burton Watson.